Hello everyone. Today we will discuss mainly about compliance. Okay, I will give credits to Mirza sir for making the core PowerPoint. I have added some slides. So we will see what is compliance. So the SLO sir define lung compliance, draw the diagram for lung compliance and the factors affecting the lung compliance. What is this compliance actually? See, the simple definition is the ability of an organ to undergo distortion. The ability of an organ to undergo distortion is known as compliance. If the ability is much, it is higher compliance. If it is low, it is lower compliance. In our body, what are the organs having this compliance? Most importantly, lungs. Lungs will change their volume. It increases, decreases. Similarly, chest wall increases, decreases. And most importantly, blood vessels. You know, blood vessels are also compliant. With increase in pressure and volume of the blood, the vessels will dilate and at the same time they constrict, they change their volume. The ability of an organ to undergo distortion is compliance. Let's say for a unit change in pressure for almost 2.5 centimeters change in pressure, if the volume of lung increases by 500 ml, increases by 500 ml, then how to calculate the compliance? It is delta V by delta P. It is delta V by delta P. So change in the volume per unit change in pressure. So it is the extent to which the lung expand, especially increases volume for increase in the transpulmonary pressure. We already know transpulmonary pressure is the pressure difference across the lung wall, that is alveolar pressure minus intrapleural pressure. This gives you the stretchability, the property of stretchability of the lungs. Opposite of compliance is elastance. Opposite of compliance is elastance. That is the ability of an organ to resist this distortion. To resist this distortion is known as elastance. So elastance is 1 by compliance. It is reciprocal of compliance. So that means compliance tends to increase the lung volume, whereas the elastance is responsible for the recoil. It is the elastic property of the lung, where the elastic fibers of the lung tends to recoil the lung. So compliance is balanced by elastance. Let's say for a unit change in pressure, for a 2.5 centimeters change in pressure, lung 1 increases volume by 500 ml, transpulmonary pressure. Lung 2 increases volume by 750 ml. So the lung 2 is having more compliance than lung 1. Lung 2 is having more compliance than lung 1. So if you calculate how much will be the compliance of your lung, let's say during tidal inspiration, from FRC, how much transpulmonary pressure increases? It is around 2.5 centimeters of water. In terms of water, it is 2.5 centimeters of water. For that, how much your lung volume increases? It is increasing in 500 ml, increasing in 500 ml. So finally, how much you get compliance? 200 ml per centimeter. Actually, it is 0.5 liter divided by 2.5 centimeters of water. So that will become 0.2 liter per centimeters of water. So centimeters of water is the change in transpulmonary pressure, that is alveolar pressure minus your intrapleural pressure. So what is the compliance of lung? So this is mainly at lower lung volumes, that is 200 ml per centimeters or 0.2 liter per centimeters of water. But if we take entire chest wall, lung and chest wall together, it is 0.11 liter per centimeter or 110 ml per centimeter of change in the transmural pressure across respiratory system. Okay, we have discussed these things in under your relaxation pressure volume curves. How to calculate the compliance? Simple. You remember this graph. This is the relaxation pressure volume curve. What is on the x-axis? It is your trans lung pressure, also known as trans pulmonary pressure. This is alveolar pressure minus intrapleural pressure. On the y-axis, there is lung volume. There is lung volume in percentages of total lung capacity. Let's say total lung capacity, 100% of your lung volume is total lung capacity. That is around 6 liters, around 5 to 6 liters. Your functional residual capacity, this is around 2.43 liters. Then residual volume, that is around 1 liter. Then minimal volume 500 ml. This minimal volume is achieved only during lung collapse. Normally, you can breathe maximum up to residual volume. This we know. So we breathe till total lung capacity, and we will breathe out till residual volume and record the alveolar and intrapleural pressure. We subtract intrapleural pressure from alveolar pressure, and against this trans lung pressure, we are plotting the graph from total lung capacity towards residual volume. What is compliance? The change in volume of the lungs by change in transpulmonary pressure. So take the slope of this curve, that will give you compliance. So what is this slope indicates? Delta V per change in delta P. How much it is for normal lung? From FRC at lower lung volumes, it is around 200 ml per centimeter of water, or is 0.2 liter per centimeter of water. Delta V by delta P gives you compliance. From this diagram, you can note one more thing. So FRC to somewhere around 75% of the total lung capacity, you can see. This is one expansion, and later on another expansion up to TLC. So this is a lower lung volume and this is higher lung volume. As the lung volume increases, you can see here the slope is steep. Here the slope is steep compared to the slope at higher lung volumes. That means at higher lung volumes, the pressure required to increase the volume is more, very high amount of pressure. You can see here for this much amount of pressure only, there is so much change in volume, that so much change in delta V. But whereas this delta V at higher lung volume is less than this delta V. But for this delta V only, we require so much change in pressure. That means the compliance of the lung at higher lung volume is less. When the lungs goes to total lung capacity, the compliance is less. That means high trans-lung pressures are required to increase the volume of the lung. That also we can see from this graph. But our normal breathing falls under this pressure volume curve. Actually, this is static lung volume curves. Okay, static lung volume curves. What we are doing is we are stopping inspiration and expiration, and we are breathing and to the total lung capacity, and then we are recording this pressure. In the next video, I will tell you how to record this pressure. But for now, you can see in the relaxation pressure volume curves where you breathe till TLC and you went back till residual volume. You plotted the transpulmonary pressure, and you can see the slope of this curve will give you compliance, that is delta V by delta P. Now, I told you this curve slope, this is transpulmonary pressure curve plotted against the volume. So this gives you the compliance of lung. Slope of this curve gives you compliance of lung. But this is transmural pressure across the respiratory system. This is transmural pressure across the respiratory system. This curve falls in between the transmural pressure across chest wall and transpulmonary pressure. So how much is this? It is 110 ml per centimeter of water. This pressure is calculated mainly by alveolar pressure minus barometric pressure. You know that equation we already saw. So the transmural pressure across the respiratory system at functional residual capacity is 0. It is 0. So slope of these curves will give you that compliance of the lung and chest wall together. Just you should know this thing. Now, how to measure? We can conduct an experiment on the isolated dog lung. We took out the dog lung, connected it to a spirometer for recording the changes of volume. We kept it inside a jar. This jar acts like your pleural cavity. You can make it negative pressure, you can make it positive pressure. So this acts as pleural gravity, and within lung volume there is alveolar pressure. Similarly, if you decrease this negative pressure, pleural pressure, you are making it negative from minus 2.5 centimeters to downwards minus 10 centimeters. What happens? Alveolar pressure minus PI. So trans lung pressure increases. Trans lung pressure increases. Lung volume increases. Lung volume increases. Trans pulmonary pressure increases. Lung volume increases. Similarly, if you increase the pressure here, you are making it towards zero, minus 10, minus 5, minus 2. Then what happens? Transpulmonary pressure decreases. Then lung volume decreases. This is called inflation limb. This is called deflation limb. But you can see there is a gap. There is a gap between the inflation and deflation limb. It is not going like this and coming like this. Why this gap is present? This gap is also known as hysteresis. This gap is known as hysteresis. Why there is hysteresis? That we will discuss. So compliance of lungs. You can see they plotted against intrapleural pressure, or else you can plot against the trans lung pressure. You make it more and more negative. That means this negativity is in relation to your atmospheric pressure. This negativity is in relation to your atmospheric pressure. Actually, this will be around, how much? This will be around like 758 millimeters of mercury, 756 millimeters of mercury, 754 millimeters of mercury. But in relation to atmospheric pressure, this is minus 4 centimeters, minus 5 centimeters, minus 6 centimeters. You know that 1 millimeter of mercury is 1.36 centimeters of water pressure. So how to measure these intrapleural changes is by measuring the intraesophageal pressures. This I will discuss in next video. Volume changes you can plot by using spirometer. Subject will inspire from his residual volume towards total lung capacity. So if you plot the inspiration volume against pressure, and this is expiration, there is a difference. This is known as hysteresis. See, there is a difference. It is not going like this and coming back like this. What is the reason for this hysteresis? We can say that from this graph, we can say that the pressure required to, let's say, at this lung volume change, this is the pressure required to open the closed lung, airways and lung, is more than the pressure required to keep the airway open. We can say from this graph, okay, the pressure required to open the already closed airways. Like at the end of expiration, what happens? Some of your airways may collapse. So higher pressures are required, higher transpulmonary pressures are required to open this already closed airways and alveoli, compared to the pressure required to keep these airways open. So at the same volume, during inspiration, transpulmonary pressure should be more to open the airways compared to the expiration. This hysteresis and this difference is mainly because of surface tension and the surface tension reducing agent surfactant availability. That is for our next class. That's for our next class. The difference is because of the surface tension. So this length gives you your average lung compliance. All these are static lung compliances. So there is a regional variation in the lung compliance due to effect of gravity on the intrapleural pressure. I kept a question based on your GK Paul sentence, the increase in negative gradient. Don't get confused. From the apex to base, what is happening? So intrapleural pressure is more negative at the apex. That means in comparison with the atmospheric pressure, it is more negative. That means if the atmospheric pressure is 760 mm, the intrapleural pressure at the apex of the lung is 753 mm. That is almost 7 millimeters of mercury less than the atmospheric pressure. Why? because of the gravity, especially in your sitting or standing posture, because of the gravity, the lungs try to settle down on the floor of the thorax, thereby pulling the visceral pleura along with it. Visceral pleura along with it. So what happens near the apex? The volume increases. Boyle's law, pressure decreases. That's why intrapleural pressure is more negative at the apex. In that bit, it is little controversial that they mentioned gradient, increase in negative gradient from apex to base. You need not confuse like that. The intrapleural pressure is more negative compared to the atmospheric pressure, and at the base it is less negative. So if outside pressure is 760, the intrapleural pressure will be around 758 millimeters of mercury. All these things are at FRC. All these things are at FRC. And at the base, alveoli are less distant. They are mainly in the collapsed state. So what happens to the compliance? We will see from this diagram. Okay, apex to base. What happens to the intrapleural pressure? So it is more negative at the apex compared to atmospheric pressure, that is around -6 or -7 millimeters of mercury, or else -10 centimeters in terms of water. But actual pressure will be around 753 or 754 millimeters of mercury. Outside pressure is 760. So at the base, because of the gravity, apex is pulled so that there is more negativity. Increase in volume, Boyle's law, pressure decreases. That's why it is more negative here compared to the base. Near base, what is happening? It is only less negative compared to the atmosphere. -2 mm or else -2.5 centimeters water. It is 758. Outside it is 760. It is 758. So somewhere in between it will be the middle. -10 centimeters, -8, -6, -5, -4, -2, like that. This minus is in relation to atmosphere. That will be like 753 millimeters of mercury. Actual intrapleural pressure will be 753, 755, 757, 758. But always you remember the intrapleural pressure at FRC, functional residual capacity, is always negative in the physiological condition towards your atmospheric pressure. This we already discussed why it is like this. So intrapleural pressure, actual pressure increases from 753 to 758 from apex to base. But comparison to atmosphere, it is more negative at the apex and less negative at the base compared to atmosphere. What happens to transpulmonary pressure? This is PA minus PI. PL is nothing but PA minus PI. At FRC, PA is 0. So 0 minus of -10, that is +10. Like that, here it will be 0 minus of -5. It will be +5. At the base, it will be 0 minus of -2.5 centimeters water, that is a +2.5 centimeters. Transpulmonary pressure is more at the apex compared to base at functional residual capacity. This indicates what? Already transpulmonary pressure is more at the apex. That means it will be more stretched compared to the base, right? Transpulmonary pressure, when it is positive, means it is distending pressure. Already the apical part is distended compared to base at FRC itself. That means this apex is already at a higher initial lung volume because of high initial transpulmonary pressure. So transpulmonary pressure from apex to base decreases. Initial lung volume is high at the apex, low at the base. So all these things are at FRC. Intrapleural pressure relation to atmosphere is more negative at apex. Relation to atmosphere, it is less negative at base. But even though actual intrapleural pressure from apex to base increases, transpulmonary pressure decreases, initial lung volume decreases. All these things at FRC. So when inspiration starts and all that process occurs, then what happens to lung volume? Already this is at higher lung volumes. So the change in lung volume will be at low. Already when it is higher lung volume, the further increase in lung volume is low at apex. Further increase in lung volume is very high at base because initial lung volume is low. So more lung can be expanded at the base compared to the apex. So what is compliance? Delta V by delta P, delta V by delta P. Because change in volume is low at the apex and change in volume is high at the base. What happens to compliance? Compliance is low at the apex, compliance is high at the base. Or else we can also state this in another way. Because apex is already having higher lung volumes, further increase in lung volume is difficult compared to the base. If you remember the previous graph, at higher lung volumes, delta V by delta P is less. Delta V by delta P is less compared to delta V by delta P at base. This is the reason. So what are the factors that affect this lung compliance? What is lung compliance again? It is the ability of organ to undergo distortion or else the maximum stretchability of the lung, however you want to define it. It depends on the distensibility and also elastic recoil. Elastic recoil of the lung is also known as elastance. If elastic recoil of the lung is more, elastance is more, compliance will be less because lung tries to pull inside. Distensibility, this mainly depends on your transpulmonary pressure. If transpulmonary pressure is more, the lung will try to increase in more. When transpulmonary change is more, distensibility will be more. This also depends on the elastin and collagen fibers. Lung volumes, we already discussed. At higher lung volumes, further increase in volume is difficult. That way, higher lung volumes compliance will be less compared to lower lung volumes. At lower lung volumes, there is more scope for increase in volume of the lung. Similarly, lung size, although same thing, proportionate to the size of the lung, compliance is proportionate to the size of the lung. Surface tension, surface tension is very, very important in compliance. So we can see at the apex, the compliance is less because it is already at higher lung volume, and the base compliance is high because it is at lower lung volume and there is scope of more delta V, more delta V. For delta P, because already here transpulmonary pressure is more, further increase in pressure is less in the apical region compared to the basal region. Same thing. So from FRC to this 75% volume, we can consider this as lower lung volume. From 75 to total lung capacity, this is higher lung volume. You can see delta V is more, delta P is less. So less pressure is required to cause more change in volume. Compliance is high. But whereas here more delta P is required to further stretch in the higher lung volumes range. So delta V by delta V is less, delta P is more. So compliance is obviously less at higher lung volumes compared to lower lung volumes. Let's say we take out the lungs, fill the lungs with saline, and then we record the hysteresis. Like you saw that experiment, dog lung. We fill the lungs with water, saline instead of air, and we increase the pressure, transpulmonary pressure. That means we decrease the intrapleural pressure around the lung. What happens? You can see the hysteresis. You can see the change in lung volume, inflation curve and deflation curve. There is no much difference. Inflation curve and deflation curve, there is no much difference. But whereas in air-filled lungs, there is a significant difference between the inspiration and expiration curves. This is because of surface tension. It accounts for 2/3 of the lung elastic recoil force. 2/3 of the elastic recoil force of the lung is because of this surface tension. Surface tension always exists when there is an air-water interface. Where is air-water interface? Inside alveoli there is air and alveolar epithelium is lined by alveolar fluid. Because of this air-water interface, there is a difference between the inflation and deflation limbs. This is known as hysteresis. We'll discuss this in detail in next video. Compliance of thorax together. How we record is, we take the paralyzed person and we will increase his total thoracic volume. So how much it is? 110 ml per centimeter of water. You can also state it like the slope of that transmural pressure across the pulmonary, respiratory system. From that graph also you can measure. So all these things we spoke about are about static lung complex. Always remember, static means we stop the respiration and we are making the person to increase his volume from residual volume to total lung capacity and vice versa. But what is dynamic lung volume, lung complex? That means dynamic lung volumes, capacities, or dynamic lung complexes. We measure these things when the person is actively breathing, when he is normally breathing, and there is normal tidal volume, inspiration, expiration, inspiration, expiration. And dynamic lung compliance always fall within the static lung compliance. It won't be that much big curve. It won't be that much big curve like static lung compliance. The hysteresis will be very less in the dynamic lung compliance. So specific lung compliance, we measure this at the relaxation volume. Just know the types of lung compliance. Dynamic lung compliance we will discuss with the surface tension. Okay. So this is basic. Please watch this video in loop. You should understand about the compliance. Again, go through your book in detail and applied aspect you watch in the next video.